All right. Hello, everyone. Well, all of us have been stressed out and feeling anxiety, all these COVID. And we've talked about a lot of different techniques and tools to help us, like yoga, breathwork. Well, today we bring EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique, to help us. And this is something that's so beautiful that we can also do it ourselves with a little bit of a guidance from a coach. And we have Juliana with us. Juliana is a registered EFT practitioner. She is joining me live from UK. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Amita.
All right, so let's just understand, first of all, what is EFT?
So EFT is a stress management tool, which you can either self-apply or you can have therapy sessions based on. It can cover many issues regarding mental health and also a few physical issues such as physical pain and other things as well. So what I do with my clients when they come to me is to assess what they're looking for, and then come up with a plan to address what they want to achieve. And although EFT tends to work faster than talking therapy because there is a physical element to it, we tap onto acupressure points and it soothes the nervous system, the stress response in the body. We still have to be patient and persevere with the sessions so we can actually achieve good results and get to the core issue of the problems.
Okay, so let's just talk about how it can help us with the stress, anxiety, and even trauma, right? What is the science behind it and how does it work?
So it happens that in our brain, all the information that we get from the world, it goes first through the parts of the brain that are primitive until it gets to our cortex. So first comes through the primitive parts of the brain that is designed to keep us alive. So it goes first to the brain stem that regulates involuntary functions such as heartbeat, breathing, temperature, and then it goes to the diencephalon, which gives us sensation of hunger, cold, sweats, and needs that drive us to take actions in order to suffice those needs. And then it goes to the limbic system, which is in those three parts of the brain, they don't tell time. So, for example, if you've had childhood trauma, when there is anything that happens that will remind you of that trauma, to your most primitive part of the brain, it doesn't tell time. It is the same as if it was happening again. And then you have a stress response. So before all this information that you get from the world goes to your frontal cortex, which is the part of the brain that allows you to think, to be creative, to find solutions, to tell time, this part of the brain is the limbic system, the stress part of the stress response, which will lead you to either fight, flight, freeze, or faint. It will be running the show before it gets to the part of the brain where you can actually think of a solution. So as this is made to make us survive, this is made to make us thrive, be happy, and achieve and evolve as human beings. But when the stress response happens, it happens in the limbic system and not here. And when you apply EFT to you, or if you're having a session, or if you're self-applying, what you are doing, you are soothing the limbic system, the amygdala in your brain. So that's why it is so good with anxiety. If you are anxious, for example, because you have a deadline at work and you are anxious, you are having anxiety, So EFT will soothe that stress response in your amygdala. You will change the neural pathways in your body, in your brain, and it will make you feel different about the issue. If you have bad memories, and those bad memories make you feel sad, angry, frustrated, you will still remember those things, but detached, emotionally detached from the memories. And for example, let's say, for example, is a person who's now suffering from anxiety, and they have childhood trauma. They have been, I don't know, emotionally abused when they were children. But they're still in touch with a relative or their friend of the family who was really mean to them. This is just an example. And let's say they have EFT treatment. Now, it doesn't mean that they will put themselves in danger again by resolving that trauma. It just means, now I know this person cannot be good for me, or they cannot be around my children because they could do the same. But I don't have those sensations anymore that are keeping me from moving on in life. I don't know if that makes sense. And when you have anxiety, it's because your fight or flight or freeze response is like this, is running the show. You're not being able to think, be creative, and do what you have to do.
Okay, so no, I think it makes sense. Now let's just come to the EFT technique as to, you know, these are, how is it different than acupressure? That's number one. And how does it help in the sense like, are we, you know, I know we are tapping, but how does the tap exercise of tapping starts with all the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's what you just explained, right?
Yes. So EFT was evolved from a technique called TFT. It was Dr. Roger Callahan who first started. He used to have, for TFT, he had a different algorithm of tapping for different issues in different points. Until one day, this guy called Gary Craig, who was an electric engineer and saw the human body as one big circuit, took his training, and he thought, well, if instead of having different algorithms for different issues, we covered these acupressure points, these are acupressure points, we will be covering nearly the whole human body in terms of meridians. So that's what he did. So if you wanted, we could do a demo now. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes, please.
Yeah. So connect slightly with something that upset you, perhaps, you know, not too bad. Don't need to tell me what it is. Let's say, for example, somebody was rude to you on the way to work, something like that. So EFT works best with specifics. So for example, you know, I feel upset because my mother-in-law is not very nice. She's not a nice person. That's very global. So we want specifics. So for example, I feel upset because my mother-in-law said that I'm not a good wife to her son. That's specific, okay? So if you have an event that you would like to work on, you can write down, there is this event, and then what is the emotion that brings out for you? Is it anger? Is it frustration? Is it sadness? What is it? So let's say, for example, I am sad because my mother-in-law said that I'm not a good wife to her son. Okay, so this is one event. And I am sad. So that's the emotion that I have. Okay, from 0 to 10, how sad am I? Let's say I am a 7. It would be like a 70% sadness out of 100, right? Okay, and where in my body is this emotion right now? So let's say it's in my chest. Okay, so I have a fact, an event, I have an emotion, I have a rating, and I have a place in my body where that emotion lies right now. Okay. I have these all these informations I have. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a setup phrase. And bear in mind, this is the basic recipe I'm showing to you. If it were to work with trauma, it would be different. Okay. So we do a setup phrase, and with the setup phrase, what we do is we prompt the limbic system, the stress response, for the work you're doing, but you're also reassuring it. So you don't have, for you not to have like a trigger, so you don't feel triggered doing the work. So we tap and we say, even though, you can say with me, even though, yeah, my mother-in-law said I'm not a good wife to her son.
My mother-in-law said that I'm not a good wife to my son, to her son.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply that myself.
Yeah. So even though
I
have this sadness in my chest,
I have the sadness in my chest
because my mother-in-law said that I'm not a good wife.
Because my mother-in-law said I'm not a good wife to her son.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
One more time. Even though I have this sadness in my chest.
I have the sadness in my chest.
Because my mother-in-law said that I am not a good wife for her son.
Because my mother-in-law said I'm not a good wife.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply accept myself.
Okay, and then we tap on top of the head and we say, this sadness in my chest.
This sadness will digest.
Okay. And then beginning of your eyebrow, you say again, this sadness in my chest.
The sadness in my chest.
Okay. End of your eyebrow. Yeah. This sadness in my chest.
This sadness in my chest.
Fantastic. Okay, one more time, going down. This sadness in my chest.
The sadness in my chest.
Okay. And then bear in mind, or whatever is it that emotion you are feeling, and where is in your body, you can repeat it for yourself. Okay. Okay. Now moving on to this point between nose and mouth. Yeah. We say this sadness in my chest.
Sadness in my chest.
Okay. Between mouth and chin, this sadness in my chest.
The sadness in my chest.
Fantastic. And then a couple of inches, an inch below the collarbone. Here. Yeah, do you see your collarbone? Just below it, there is a sore spot here. A bit lower, a bit lower.
Yeah.
Not in the middle, towards the side here.
Yeah.
Bit lower, lower, lower. Yeah, there. You see it's a bit sore. Yeah, that's right there. Tap right there. And you say, this sadness in my chest.
This sadness in my chest.
Fantastic. And then under your eyebrow, under your arm, right here on your rib, you say, this sadness in my chest.
This sadness in my chest.
Okay. So these are the basic points. And take a deep breath. So after you do a few rounds, you assess again, how sad do you feel? And then you assess again, is it still in your chest? Do you still feel sad? Are you angry now? Any other details about what happened? So that's how you work with EFT. Until the aim is to make you feel completely neutral about what happened. And then we also have a few points on the hands as well, which is always good to tap. Yeah, if you put your hand like this, yeah, and always on top. Yeah, of your thumb, these points are very good if you are in public and you feel the need to do some tapping. You can always tap discreetly onto these points. Yeah, here on the fingertips on top of it. Fantastic. Okay, your mid finger. Brilliant. Okay, we skip this one. We skip this one. Yeah, pinky finger. And there's also side of the hand as well. Okay. So do you feel a bit relaxed after this tapping?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that your expression is softened up a bit.
No, I think this is great, and what I love about is it's very simple, and people can with some kind of a coaching such as yourself, people can start doing it themselves, and self-care, right? It's not, it doesn't require too much intervention as far as other things that like other modalities and therapies.
Fantastic. Yes.
Yeah. But thank you so much. This is a quick 10-minute session that we bring on a daily basis. Today's session was on how EFT can help with simple anxiety and sadness, as Juliana and I demonstrated. So keep supporting us. We are launching our workshops and the platform. So stay tuned, and thank you so much, and have a great rest of the week. Namaste.
Thank you. You too. Namaste.
Bye-bye.